And we are here today to look at this flag that was taken from near Austin, Missouri in 1861.
1861, yeah.
Okay. So we've got, can you just basically describe the size of it first of all?
It's large. It's a little unusual in the way that it's set up, in that it obviously is much longer on the fly, or the part that extends out, than it is on the hoist, or what would be on the flagpole normally. On the hoist, it's 57.5 inches, but altogether on the fly, it's 155 inches, which, if you do some quick computation, that's what, about, it's over 10 feet. It's probably closer to 12, 13 feet.
So what's the speculation as to why it would have been that large?
For the information we've got on this flag, we're not quite sure. It may have been hanging on the side of a building. The only reason we think that is that we have a second flag like this that's actually longer, that was taken in Iatan, Missouri, or Iatan, I always forget how that's pronounced, up along the Missouri River. That, we know from the accounts, was hanging on the side of a building in Iatan. So it sort of makes sense that this may have been hanging on the side of a building in Austin.
Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming cotton?
It's cotton. Let me just double check my record. Yeah, cotton all the way across the board on that one, as far as
Hand stitched, is it?
hand stitched. Follows the Confederate First National Flag pattern, which is the one that is commonly called the Stars and Bars. The star layout rather is a little different than most, because they, as far as the arrangement, but again, that may have something to do with it being early in the war and not being sure how many states, or again, how you're counting the stars is what they are.
So can you relate the story of how it ended up in Kansas?
It was the first Kansas Infantry was going into Missouri early in 1861, and they are on their way towards Springfield, where, as they're going to find out, they're going to take part in the Battle of Wilson's Creek. As they're making their way southward along the Missouri-Kansas border, they're going into Austin, and one of the companies went into town searching for flags, arms, anything that they saw as secessionist, and to take it captive. And this wound up in the hands of a man named Searle, who I think was a member of the company, as I recall. I can't quite remember which company of the first it was, but
Do you know how that's spelled?
it's, I believe it's S-E-A-R-L.
And so they capture it, then do they go on down to Springfield?
They go on to Springfield, and they're right in the thick of the Battle of Wilson's Creek.
And he brings it back, I guess, to Kansas, and then what's happening?
He brings it back, or somebody from the first does. Searle winds up with it, but it could have been in somebody else's hands. It winds up in the hands of the Kansas State Historical Society in 1878. Now you can consider the fact that the Historical Society was founded in 1875. Really didn't start collecting until 2 years later, so this is one of the earliest artifacts that came in.
These 18-inch strips are made up of two 9-inch strips all the way across. So there was no material used on this that was wider than 9 inches all the way through there, hand sewn. And let me put my hand by the star so we just get a little bit better idea of the size. Is that all right?
Yeah.
How would you describe its condition?
Actually, I know conservators that would say this isn't really that bad, although it does have holes in it. It's a little hard to tell exactly what some of the damage is. Part of it is probably just time. There is some staining here that's a little interesting. That could be anything. I don't believe it's blood by any means, but it looks like at some point some insects have gotten into it and that could have happened at any time in the past, from when Searle had it, from after it was taken off the building in Austin.
Well, it's absolutely stupid to think anybody's gonna make this to put on a flagpole, but that indicates sort of to me that they might have been thinking when they started, they should put us some kind of pole. But it was just, couldn't be. There's no
No,
way.
it doesn't make sense to have it
Even
on
if
a
you're on a
flagpole.
horseback,
Yeah.
it would be dragging the ground with no wind.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
it'll break your arms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just not practical
No,
for
no,
any.
it has to be on a bill, so they're not even kind of the same pattern.
Well, you notice too is that they put this field of stars together and then sewed the stripes on, because look how
Yeah, right over the top of
the
the end
stars
of
are
it,
cut
yeah.
off, yeah.